It's an action-packed Friday show. The Wolves are in a big hole. Full recap from last night's loss in Oklahoma City, plus a huge day on the track and the diamond. Hot Mike starts now.
Hot Mike with Dom Izzo.
Really? Really, Dom?
No. I like what Dom's doing.
Okay.
Dom Izzo.
Jeez, come on, Dom. What do you think I am, a magician?
Yeah, I'm fired up, Dom. What else could I say?
Absolutely. It was great to get on the field, and then Dom came up to me, and I'm trying to walk away from me. I just wanted to enjoy myself out there.
Hot Mike.
Great job.
There's got to be some kind of intelligent question about something.
Coach Dom Izzo, WDAY in Fargo, North Dakota.
Can you give me a layup or something?
Hot Mike. Presented by Northwestern Mutual.
That program is second to none.
On the networks of WDAY.
You know, if it's not about sports, I find it very hard to concentrate.
Here's Dom Izzo.
Good Friday morning. Welcome to the Is Anybody Working edition of Hot Mike on WDAY Extra. KSFL, good morning in Sioux Falls, KNBN in Rapid City, and Inforum.com. Happy Friday, everybody. The sun is out. The parking lot is empty. It's the day before a holiday weekend. What else do you expect? Welcome to the big show. On this Friday morning, I am Dom Izzo, host of said program right before the holiday weekend. And boy, we are loaded to the gills today. We officially started the countdown to the new football season yesterday. And if you missed that, you can check out our show from yesterday. We also have a little bit extended coverage of that today, as North Dakota State's season opener now 99 days away. You'll hear from their opening opponent, the Citadel head football coach Maurice Drayton, going to join us before the show wraps on this Friday. Thankfully, the weather has turned. We're going to get, looks like, everything done on the regional side of things in baseball and softball over the next, I'd say, 24 to 36 hours. And then the tournament fields will be set for next week. Because a week from today, we're already in the semifinals of baseball, softball, and soccer. So looking forward to that, and thankfully Mother Nature is cooperating on that. It was also the opening day from the state track meet. We had our opening day of coverage. You could see it, everything streamed yesterday. Day 2 is coming up later this morning. You'll be able, again, you want to see an event, you can stream everything, whether it be pole vault, javelin, discus, hurdles, any event. Eric told me we have 10 cameras out there in Bismarck. Our television coverage will begin later today, and we're looking forward to that for the first time of bringing home some state track out in Bismarck, and we'll show you a couple of the highlights from the opening day in just a moment. I don't want to rip the Band-Aid off yet because it looks like it's over. I said Wolves in 6, and the only way that's going to happen is if there's a monstrous turnaround over the next 4 games. Oklahoma City, not sitting here, didn't think they were very good because I knew they were good. They won 68 games during the regular season. But I didn't think they were this much better than the Timberwolves. And in the first 2 games of this series has proven one thing. They are way better than the Wolves. And certainly guys 6, 7, and 8 are playing light years better than the Wolves 6, 7, 8. It was a little bit better yesterday, but still not good enough. And now Minnesota faces a hurdle they've never overcome as a franchise. They have never won a playoff series from being down 0-2. And that's what they stare in the face. And they're not playing Luka and LeBron and the Lakers. They're not playing a Steph Curry-less Golden State team. This is the best team with the MVP. And added on to the fact last night, before the game got started, he was awarded the MVP trophy. So SGA said he played with a little more oomph last night, and it showed. Early on, he's getting to the basket. He was getting whatever he wanted, like he has all season long. Thunder raced out to a nearly 7-point lead. Ant decided to attack the basket. He was pedestrian in game 1. He was not last night. He got to the hole early and often. When they scored here, I'm like, all right, we got a game here. Wolves are down 1 with 4 minutes to go in the first half. But for the second game in a row, they had a terrible close to the first half. SGA hits a baseline shot there. This one was a dagger 3 to end the first half. Put them up by 6. The Wolves turned it over, and OKC scored again. They went up by 8 to start the second half. Wolves got it within 4. Jalen Williams cans a three, puts them up by 7. SGA driving and one. Last night I had no issues with the refereeing last night. The officiating, that's a foul. Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Jaden McDaniels got frustrated late, just shoved him. How about Alex Caruso up and under? Why can't the Bulls find players like him? That ball gets another turnover. They're just so good on that. Then Chet with a thunder dunk. Part of a 17-3 run that OKC went on. They just do this. Dante, not good again last night. I don't know what to say there. Feed back to Holmgren for the one-handed flush. That put OKC up by 20. The Wolves actually played with some intensity in the fourth quarter. They got this game at separate times to within 10. But the OKC was relentless, able to drive and get whatever they wanted here. Williams drives and scores. Drew a foul. Or should have been an and one from Naz Reid. Lead back up to 13. SGA will put the finishing touches there on that drive. He's been sensational in the first 2 games of this Western Conference Finals. A cool 38 for the MVP last night. And the Thunder, for the second game in a row, win by double digits, 118-103 over Minnesota. Chet Holmgren goes for 22. Jalen Williams, a double-double, 26 and 10 in the win. And the third quarter was the decider. The Thunder outscored the Wolves 35-21 in the third. Ant was great. He just didn't have enough help. He had 32 last night. McDaniels had 22. Nickeil Alexander-Walker played well in the fourth quarter. When the Wolves got it within 10 with about 3.5 minutes to go, but they couldn't cross that final hurdle. And now, for Chris Finch and the boys, they got some work to do going back home, down 2-0.
If we close the half better, then we don't put ourselves on such a razor edge in the third. Excuse me. We only had 6 turnovers at halftime. We had a few more in the third quarter. Missed some shots. Didn't finish at the basket, and then led to a bunch of stuff in early attack mode for them.
With the way these 2 games have played out, just what do you have to say to your guys, or what are you looking for going back home?
Every minute in the series is a chance to find something. So we're going to go back home. This is a good team at home. So we're going to go home and fight for Game 3. I mean, heads up and look at the tape and get ready for Game 3.
I think it's like 2 or 3 possessions in a row where they really amp up the pressure a little bit. We get out of sorts offensively. We don't really get anything accomplished on the offensive end. They get steals or whatever it may be, or long rebounds to outlets, to pushing the tempo and getting out in transition. We got to be able to weather that storm a little bit better. The adversity part of it has been challenging, but you got to find a way to limit them from turning a 1 or 2 possession swing into a 3, 4, 5 possession swing where it gets out of hand.
So now it's back to Minneapolis tomorrow night. Game will be on WDAY, 7:30 from Target Center. And we love cliches in sports. Here you go. Have to have it. Must win. Everything around that. You can't go down 0-3 and have any chance of winning. The Wolves, you remember, went down 0-3 last year to the Mavericks. They won Game 4, and then Dallas finished them off in Game 5 in Minneapolis. Too many passengers for the Wolves. What happened to Julius Randle last night? He was benched, essentially, in the fourth quarter. Non-existent in Game 2. What did he finish with? 6 points last night. Randle, I would argue, has been the Wolves' best player up until this round. He was great in the first half of Game 1, and then nothing after that. 2 of 11, 4 turnovers last night. Rudy has been a liability. The Rudy Gobert that we saw in Game 5 against the Lakers is long gone, because this team plays defense. And Finch is hard-headed about this, but Conley's got to play more. Conley was a plus 14 last night in 28 minutes. The only Wolves player with a plus besides his name, according to the Star Tribune. Dante DiVincenzo was minus 27. He can't play. He cannot help you right now. Maybe it is a Jalen Clark time. He played a bit in game 1. Terrence Shannon Jr., somebody. Because right now, still going with Nas, Naw, and DDV ain't working. This is from the Star Tribune, and I totally agree on this. Finch and his staff also need to consider different lineup combinations and potentially extending the bench to include Jalen Clark and Taylor Shannon Jr. to see if that provides a spark. It has to. Has to. Ant did not speak after the game. He was fined, was it $50,000 by the NBA because he dropped an F-bomb in the post-game press conference. He was more aggressive, and it showed. He drove to the basket. He scored 16 of his 32 in the paint at 10 free throws. But they're not making their threes. Something that we saw in last year's postseason where they couldn't shoot. Offense was a challenge. Last night from three-point range, 11 of 39. They're just missing wide-open looks. Normally in the NBA, that evens out, so maybe Game 3 will be a different story. But, man, it is the struggle bus right now. We'll see. The next 2 games in Minneapolis, Saturday night and Monday night for Game 4. We got Game 2 for the Pacers and the Knicks. If that somehow equals the Game 1, sign me up for that because Game 1 was dynamite at MSG on Wednesday night. Game 2, East Finals, coming up tonight from Madison Square Garden. A couple other things I want to get to here before we set up the show. Shout out to our guy Tyler Oaks and the North Dakota State Bison baseball team. NDSU is on the doorstep of the NCAA tournament this morning. That's after they knocked off Oral Roberts yesterday, the top seed. They got the scoring started early in this game. Evan Gustafson with a 2-run single in the top of the first to make it a 2-0 game. Blake Timmons would come through with an RBI. Bison actually got up 4-0 on the Golden Eagles. More than enough for Logan Knight, who was sensational in this game. Strikeout here in the 6th inning with a runner on. Bottom of the 8th, runner on gets a 4-3 double play, end the inning. He only threw 86 pitches through 8 innings. He stayed out there. This, with 2 outs in the bottom of the 9th, gets a fly ball, a harmless fly to center, and the Bison knock off the Golden Eagles 4-0 on a complete game shutout from Logan Knight. And NDSU, through 2 games, has not allowed a run in this tournament. They beat Omaha 1-0 in 10 innings on Wednesday. They beat Oral Roberts 4-0 last night. Knight, 9-inning complete game shutout, allows 3 hits, 3 walks, 3 strikeouts. He's going to join us here in about 10 minutes to recap one of his best pitching performances, certainly since he's been a Bison. Gustafson was the big guy at the plate with 3 RBIs. And so NDSU now only needs to win 1 game tomorrow. They have the day off today. Got their feet up. They've only used 3 pitchers in the tournament. Nolan Johnson pitched 7 innings on Thursday. Danny Lackameyer went 3 innings, and then Knight went that's amazing. That is phenomenal to be in that position. So today, Omaha and Oral Roberts will play in a elimination game. The winner of that goes to the championship, but has to beat the Bison twice. NDSU has not been in this spot since 2021. They made the NCAA tournament that year. They went the hard way. They lost the first game to Oral Roberts, came back and won the second game to make it to the NCAAs. That's what's going to take here. Omaha won in extra innings on a walk-off yesterday to beat the Jacks, but what a deal. Some dynamite pitching from NDSU to get him in this spot. And now Tyler Oaks has got everybody to work with tomorrow. Everybody is available to try to get them to the NCAA tournament. That's all you have to do. You got to win 1 game. If Omaha can take care of Oral Roberts, because Oral Roberts in that situation, they've done it. They've beat the Bison in that situation. I can remember, it was 2018, 2019, NDSU got there, or you won both games. Not in the realm of possibility, but we'll see what happens. Much more on Bison baseball in just a minute. Lastly, before we set up the show, couple of sensational performances on the track yesterday in day one of the state track meet out in Bismarck. We're going to salute two of them this morning for their championship wins. Starting in one of my favorite events, in the pole vault, Central Cass brought home the championship. Trevin Quam here with a jump of 13 feet 9 inches. His first try, that's all he needed. And he wins in the boys Class B pole vault. Congratulations to him. Shout out also to Hillsborough Central Valley 7th grader Claire Grindy. Won in the 3,200 meters. 7th grader. Won at 11, and we featured her. I believe our guy Isaac Denison did a story on her. 11 minutes, 1.81 seconds to win in the 3,200 meters for Hillsborough Central Valley. So they obviously lead on the girls' side. Kindred leads on the boys' Class B side. They had just a handful of events yesterday to start things, but congratulations to a couple of local winners yesterday from the track. And a reminder, if you're looking for coverage today, well, here you go. Starts in about 15 minutes. You can stream again everything on WDAY Plus. We're on the air television-wise later today at 1 o'clock right here on Extra for a full day of event coverage. And then tomorrow we hit the air at 11 a.m. for all the track finals. And what looks like it's going to be a great couple days out in Bismarck. And shout out to our guys yesterday. That looked fantastic. That looked great. Any event you wanted to see, you got a chance to see it. Pretty cool. We are loaded to the gills here on a Friday. Just a couple minutes. We just showed them. You'll hear from Logan Knight, Bison standout pitcher, complete game shutout, and knocking off Oral Roberts to put the Bison on the doorstep of the NCAA tournament. That's coming up in just a few minutes. It is Friday. Cory Provus will be along. Give us the lowdown on the Twins as they get set to welcome in the Kansas City Royals to Target Field. We'll preview that coming up at 9:35. At 10 o'clock, one of the best athletes we have in the state of North Dakota, and he proved it yesterday. Trey Husar will join us from Northern Cass. Yesterday, Trey not only helped Northern Cass baseball get to the state tournament, then got on a plane and got to Bismarck and ran in the boys 4x2 relay. It's a remarkable story. He'll chat about that. Obviously, Trey's going to go play baseball next year at South Dakota State as well. That's coming up. Looking forward to that interview from Bismarck at 10 o'clock. And at 10:35, the head football coach of the Citadel, Maurice Drayton, will join us as they get ready to welcome in North Dakota State in 99 days to open up the college football season. That's going to wrap our show here on a Friday. So we are packed today. Looking forward to it. We'll take our first break. We come back. We'll head to Omaha where the Bison are trying to get to the NCAA tournament. Logan Knight will join us when Hot Mike returns on a Friday morning. We're back after this. Welcome back, everybody. Sun is out. Beautiful Friday morning. Ready to rock and roll. Cory Provus from the Minnesota Twins will join us. Twins and Royals coming up later tonight. We'll preview that because we do each and every Friday. We showed it off the top of the show down in Omaha. Another big night for the Bison baseball team. They knock off Oral Roberts 4-0 yesterday, led by the right-hander Logan Knight. Pitches a complete game shutout. Remarkably, already that's his second of the year. Nobody pitches complete games anymore in baseball, let alone in college baseball, let alone two of them. And he joins us this morning. Congratulations. Here's an idiot question. Is the arm sore today or no? Does it feel pretty good? You didn't throw that many pitches last night.
Yeah, no, arm feels good. I mean, obviously a little bit of soreness, but I'm feeling still with the adrenaline of winning last night. It's still not as sore.
All right, so when do you know you're in the zone? Like, is it right away, couple innings in? When did you feel like, oh, no one's touching me tonight?
Yeah, so when we scored 2 runs in the first, and I got out there, and I threw the first pitch of the game, and I think just from then it just went blank, and everything just got going.
To have that kind of performance, you know full well what Oral Roberts brings to the table. To go out there and shut him out, man, just describe that performance, what you had last night.
Yeah, it's unlike any other. I mean, last year we went to the Sun League tournament and we lost them in the first game, and I pitched that game, so I was kind of looking for redemption this year and to get the opportunity to go and do that, especially complete game and shutting them out. I mean, the feeling's just unreal.
You've done it to him twice this year. You did it down there as well. I remember we featured that on the show. That doesn't happen. That to do it twice over in 1 year, that's remarkable.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, no, it was super. I'm super grateful, and a lot of it has to do with my teammates. I mean, they made some incredible plays. My third baseman, my second baseman, my shortstop. I think they had 3 double
Yeah.
plays. It was a complete team effort every time.
I was watching it yesterday, Logan, and I'm seeing your pitch count. Like, boy, is there any way that would Tyler take him out? Did that conversation happen at all or no?
No, I don't think so. I think the guys were saying, even the guys, they said they got a little bit warm. They were just, they knew I had it as soon as I pitched the eighth. So
We're just watching the double play ball that you got to get out of the 8th inning. At that point, you're thinking, yeah, I'm finishing this thing.
yeah, 100%. When I saw that, I knew they had me, and I was like, this is it.
Describe this performance, because the last couple weeks you guys have been scuffling. You lost, I think, 6 of 7 in Summit League play. Why the change? Why the switch has been flipped when you got down to Omaha?
Yeah, I think it started from the top. I think Coach Tyler has done a great job. He's talked to us about believing in ourselves and manifesting dogpiling on the mound on Saturday. So I think it's come from the top, and I think everyone has a goal and has a journey. And I think, we've come together really as a team, and we don't let the last 6 of 7 define us. We're just living in the moment every day.
To have the win that happened Wednesday night, first off, are you in the bullpen or are you on the bench for that game on Wednesday?
On Wednesday, I was in the dugout.
So to have Shafter lead off the 10th the way he did, literally all you need is a fly ball or a wild pitch, and that's what ended up happening.
Yeah, no, it was super crazy. I knew we were gonna get done eventually. We'd done a great job all game. Their pitcher pitched super well.
Yeah.
But we also put up so many good at bats. We raised this pitch count high enough. We just knew we needed to get to their bullpen and get them out of the game, and we did that. And the results just happened.
I know you'll forgive the phrase here, but momentum in baseball is just the next day's starting pitcher. But to have a win like that, does that give you a little more added juice for what you took to the field last night?
100%. 100%. To get us off on a good note, to win the first game, it's always good to have momentum, and it's always good to be, continuously playing really good.
So now, I was joking with you off air. You got the day off. You guys have your feet up. What do you have planned for today?
Yeah, we have a practice at 11 a.m. and then I think we might have some team activity that later. We'll be probably watching the game going on later today against Omaha versus Oral Roberts. So we're gonna be spending the time together.
So now that you pitched tomorrow, potentially you may need 2. Are you available tomorrow? Are you telling T.O. like, hey, if you need me, I got an inning or 2 in me?
100%. I will be ready as much as I can. We'll see how well I bounce back, but I will try to be as ready as I can be.
It's baseball's so odd like this. You need just one win, and obviously you don't want to go to that winner take all game. But how do you handle that, knowing not necessarily a must win, but hey, we'd like to take care of this and not worry about a second game?
Yeah, I think it's about the process. I think we really got to stay steady. I think the message been going on our team is to not get our hopes up too high. We're living one day at a time, one game at a time, just taking it super casual and making sure we approach every game with the same mindset and coming to win every day.
Couple minutes left here with Logan Knight, North Dakota State senior pitcher. I visited with Tyler Oakes about this, about earlier this month, about the grind of the schedule. You guys played everywhere. You played everybody. Do you feel like that's paid off now with the challenges you had earlier in the season?
100%. Playing in those big environments, there's nothing else like it. And coming into the tournament and, experiencing that same environment again, we've already been prepared for it. He's given us the tools for success. Now we just got to go take it.
So you pitched at Alabama. I mean, so describe that of like, hey, you're going to get the start this weekend. What goes through your mind for a situation like that?
It was crazy. I can't even describe the feeling. My parents got to come see me
Nice.
Pitch at Alabama. It was my most memorable experience, and to go there and be on the mound against some of the best players in the nation, I couldn't ask for a better opportunity.
So you are one of the many Canadians on the roster. I have to ask, how in the world did you get from Canada to North Dakota State and Fargo? How did that work out?
Yeah, so my story is a little unique. I went down to junior college first in California, but I actually went to summer baseball and I was looking for school, and my summer ball coach had played for Tyler when he was at SCSU. So he reached out to Tyler for me, and I ended up being the last signee of the that year, and just got in because I think it was because of Cade and Tristan, or with Carson Jacobs got drafted. So there was an open spot. So I got the open spot, and I just got an opportunity.
Wow, that's remarkable. I was visiting with Dante Smith about this. What do we not know in the States of how good the baseball is in Canada?
Yeah, I think it's coming up. I mean, when I was growing up, it was just getting bigger, and I think there's a lot of guys that are underrated out there. And then if you look a lot closer, there's more than I think there's one or two Canadians mostly on every team now.
Yeah.
So it's getting better every day.
Is your team the Jays, or you have another team?
I'm the Jays.
Yeah.
Go Jays.
What's the matter with them this year here? What's going on?
I mean, I think again, it's a whole lot of things. I mean, Vladimir's obviously a great player. Pitching wise, I mean, we wanted obviously Scherzer to be healthier, but I mean he is older, so I get that. But I think yesterday's game we saw a good step up. They went 14-0 against I forget who it was, but I mean we're playing better. I think we got some hope.
Plus, you play in the AL East, man. You play with the Yankees, the Red Sox. I mean, and normally Tampa's good. Baltimore's bad this year, but I as a Mets fan, I was burned on the Scherzer deal, man. So I'm going to tell you right now, don't get your hopes up, okay?
Yeah, I won't. I mean, maybe it's the torpedo bats. Maybe that's where we're losing. I don't know. Maybe it's something to do with the Yankees. I don't know.
It's great to see you, bud. I really appreciate the time. Congratulations on a great game last night, and good luck tomorrow, okay?
Thank you so much. I appreciate this.
Logan Knight, NDSU senior pitcher, complete game shutout last night against Oral Roberts. The Bison won 4-0. They are off today. NDSU just needs one win tomorrow, either against Omaha or ORU, to go to the NCAA tournament. Of course, we'll have you fully covered on that tomorrow. We'll break. We come back. The man, Cory Provus, is waiting. We'll chat on the Minnesota Twins. They get set to open up a series with the Royals. Where would they be without Kobe Clemens right now? That's coming up when Hot Mike returns after this.
Deep to left center field. Back it goes and gone. The 0-2 pitch. Hey! Struck him out swinging at 101. Swinging a drive. Left field and deep. Back it goes and gone. And the Twins walk it off again.
Look at that, right on the nose at 9:35. We're joined by Cory Provus each and every Friday. His appearances are brought to us by Welton's Tire Services. The Twins get ready to welcome in the Kansas City Royals after a day off yesterday where enjoyed after the weather was, of course, perfect and the Twins didn't play. Great to see you, bud. After it was a long couple days. It took a day and a half to finish a game, and the Twins got that one, and then Cleveland got them in the second game on Wednesday. That's got to be such an awkward position as a broadcaster because once the rain started the second time over, I think I heard in your voice, like, oh, I don't know if we're playing again.
You know, I when the week began, it's like none of these games are going to get in here. And this brought me back to, 2018, when the Twins, they lost a whole series because of snow to the White Sox, I believe. And then the Twins went to San Juan to play Cleveland in 2 games in Puerto Rico. And it brought me back to that, like what this could be. The Guardians come back only one more time. We're certainly going to have to work in a doubleheader somewhere then, and then maybe lose an off day and you have a doubleheader. So the fact that we got 2 games in was shocking with how ominous the forecast looked and just how dreadful it was at the ballpark this week. But look, that would have been a brutal loss on Wednesday to lose again to Cleveland in that manner when you have a comfortable lead. So they came back and, kind of gave Cleveland a taste of their own medicine in the sense that how often have we seen the Guardians just beat the Twins in walk-off fashion, 1-run games? Right. Well, they got one back, one that they had. I mean, that would have been a brutal loss. But then the second game, Gavin Williams was great. And you see the difference in rosters. You see that, you're envious of the fact that it wasn't an option that Jose Ramirez, he's going to play both games. Stephen Kwan, he's going to play both. They have just dudes that can do that. And for whatever reason, the Twins have had a hard time finding guys that can do that as well. Play 2 games in a row of double headers. And the Guardians for years have been able to just find the right guys and the right impact players when you need to play 2 in one day that often post for both games.
We just saw the Carson McCusker javelin throw bat. We were joking off air. He looks huge. You've seen him is he as huge as he looks on television?
Yeah, Bailey Ober's a big guy, but Carson McCusker is different. 6'8", 250. Whew. Yeah, he's a beast. He looks like somebody you'd see, in an NFL locker room. He's just a big, big guy. I think he'll play tonight. I assume he'll get a chance to play tonight with lefty Noah Cameron going. And these two might have some history in the minor leagues too, with St. Paul and Omaha. So we'll dive into that a little bit. But he's a massive, massive guy. And I want to see, the power. I think we all do. He doesn't have a big league hit yet. And hopefully he gets that chance tonight. And if he does, hopefully it travels a long way.
I want to go back. You mentioned the first game Wednesday, because fans are always interested in this. When they Rocco decided to bring in Duran in the middle of the 9th inning. And the game was weird anyway because it resumed in the 4th. What do you make of that? Because that's typical. That's not, closers are such creatures of habit. That's a different position to be in.
Yeah, I liked the move because you had a game coming up the next day. Joe Ryan's pitch count was low. The weather was obviously poor. So with that, his velocity was down and all that stuff. But he had a comfortable lead that I thought, let Joe Ryan go out, try to finish that game, because that's the best case scenario. That if you have one pitcher, in this case Ryan, through the final 5 innings and you win that game, then your entire bullpen is good to go. And these divisional games are a big deal. Now, when you think about tiebreakers and things like that, you only play 13. And so far they have 6 in, and the Guardians have won 4 of the 6. That's a big game. So having all your bullpen guys, and I also think Rocco knew that the lineup was going to look a bit differently for the second game, that who was going to play, who was not going to play that second game. I think he was trying to leverage and be like, all right, if I can't have all my position players for this second game, then I'd love to have all my bullpen pieces. So I didn't mind that move. And it just, the walk there to Manzardo was a killer for Ryan. Jose Ramirez is one of the game's best players. He's going to get hits, fine. But then the walk to Manzardo, that's what I think set that whole inning, going in a disastrous direction. So I didn't mind that move one bit. I thought, let Ryan finish the game, but it didn't happen.
I can't believe I'd say this that I was joking about earlier in the week, where the Twins would be without Cody Clemens. Not sure I ever thought I'd say that sentence all in 2025.
You're not alone. And remember that the only reason why he's on the team is because of Luke Keeshaw's injury.
Right.
That was the move. If Keyshaw doesn't get hurt, Clemens is either in limbo with the Phillies or he's on another team. But that old saying is so true that an injury opens up opportunity, and for Clemens, that's what he has right now. And the injury to Keyshaw has opened up a chance for him to play. And I'll say this, I thought the way that he swung the bat on that road trip in Cleveland and then Boston.
Mm-hmm.
I think he stayed over Eddie Julian. I think that the way that Cody was swinging the bat, hitting line drives, he could play second base. I think that's his best position. I think he outplayed Eddie. And I think that's why when a decision was made, when the team came back home for that next homestand, that Clemens stayed and Julian went down to AAA.
Man, and he's been clutch. He's had some big hits and obviously won the game on Wednesday. So now it's Kansas City, and the Royals are, again, right in the top half of that AL Central race, which is just great. As we talked about last week, it's just packed to the gills. Obviously, fans want to know update on Correa and Buxton. It's been a week since the collision in Baltimore. Each were put on the injured list. Corey, do we have an update? Do we know anything yet of their potential return?
I think that Carlos is back tonight, and the reason I say that is because the off day yesterday, the Twins made some moves. They sent down Ryan Fitzgerald. So there is an opening now on the roster. I don't think they do that without knowing that Carlos is back. And so the 7th day is today, so he can come off the concussion IL as long as he passes. And I'm guessing he did. I don't think they make that move unless he passed every medical barrier that needed to be had. And this was so much out of the Twins' hand at this point. Once you're on the concussion IL, this is overseen by a doctor within Major League Baseball. That's not employed by the team. That this individual's job is to make sure that any player that has any semblance of a concussion, head injury, has to pass certain tests. And I would imagine that Correa has done that. That's why they made those moves yesterday. So I think he's back tonight. Nick Paparessa spoke before the games on Wednesday, the head trainer, and he mentioned that Byron was a bit behind in terms of where Byron is at and where Carlos is at. And this is Carlos's first concussion. He's never had this before, where Byron, he's had this in the past, both concussions, but also Byron has migraines. And that's why he missed that Puerto Rico series with Cleveland, by the way, was because he was dealing with migraines. So that because of that, there's more of a history with Byron that they can look back on and study. So he's a bit behind. How far behind, we don't know all those details, but I feel pretty confident saying that Carlos is back tonight.
The good news there. It just, you still watch, it's just a scary play. I know we talked about it last week on the show, and they're just a helpless spot there. That's just a scary play, and hopefully you get both these guys back as soon as possible.
I agree, and it matters. And the Twins need their stars.
Yeah.
It's great that we're seeing all these unsung heroes come up with big swings and big moments. But look, they're going to be in a stretch now. They've got a good team in town this weekend in the Royals, a playoff team from last year. 3-city road trips are always tough. They got Tampa, Seattle. The A's have been floundering here a little bit, but still Seattle can score. They're going to need their dudes. And Royce looks great. This is the best that he has looked. Yep. That's good news. They get Carlos back tonight. Hopefully Matt Wallner's back soon. He's rehabbing with St. Paul right now. Hit 2 home runs yesterday with the Saints. That's great to see. So the next few days are going to be key here to get these guys back, get them healthy, and then try to match up, we hope, a healthy lineup with this really dominant pitching staff. And then the Twins could be in for a really good stretch of baseball here.
You look at the standings waking up today. Detroit obviously in front, 5 games ahead of both Cleveland, Minnesota, and Kansas City. I know it's still May before Memorial Day, which I know typically if you're either in or out. If you're contending, then you're in, as the old saying in baseball around Memorial Day. But it means these games, you said it, in the Central, when you're playing division games, this weekend is a big deal. These 3 games mean a lot.
Yeah, and again, considering that the Twins already have lost 3 times to the Royals.
Right.
I mean, they already dropped 3 out of 4 earlier in the year. These things matter when you have these central teams all kind of bunched together. You can't dismiss the fact that the tiebreaker could decide a playoff team over a team that goes home. And the number one tiebreaker is head-to-head record. He played 13 times. And the Twins, despite the fact that they collapsed at the end last year, they had the tiebreaker just about over everybody but Cleveland. And it just didn't work out. So these are significant games. And after this weekend, Dom, the Twins are done with divisional play until the end of June.
That's wild.
When they go to Detroit. So they don't have an AL Central game here for a while after this weekend. So I'm with you. This is a big series. And we're talking about who the Twins don't have. The Royals pitching has been great. But right now, Cole Reagans is on the IL. Seth Lugo's on the IL. So you take out 2 really good stud pitchers, 2 Cy Young candidates. That's a big deal. Now, Noah Cameron, this rookie sensation, goes tonight, had a no-hitter going into the 7th inning in his major league debut. This will be his 3rd start. Then on Sunday, Chris Bubich, he's pitching like a Cy Young candidate. He's been fantastic. So 2 lefties are coming up for the Twins this weekend, starting tonight with Cameron and then Bubich on Sunday.
See, and I thought they would be okay without Reagans because Reagans has been great against the Twins. Lugo's been pretty good. Both those guys have been really good against the Twins over the last couple of years.
Yeah, that they have. And their pitching is incredible. I mean, Kansas City offensively, fewest home runs in baseball. Yeah. Their run scoring, bottom 5 in baseball. Slug, they're bottom 5 in baseball. But they are where they are because they steal bases. They have Bobby Witt Jr., and they also have maybe the best starting pitching staff in baseball right now. The Twins aren't far behind, but starting pitching ERA, the Royals' starting ERA is under 3. and that puts them third best in baseball. Twins not far behind at 3.4, fifth best in baseball. So I'm doing my scorecard as we speak. That's why I keep looking down here. So I'm starting.
He's ready to roll there. That's fantastic.
That's kind of why I keep looking away from you, because I was looking up these numbers before the show.
Okay, question for break. Do you score in pen or pencil?
I score in pen, but it's erasable.
Oh, okay, smart man. There you go. Okay,
these friction. This is not an endorsement deal. Okay, these friction pens that I use. These are erasable pens. So I use these guys.
Okay. I got to try that. I only do it. I only do it in pen, but it's not a erasable pen. I like that.
No,
I might have to get on that.
So fantastic.
All right, we'll break. We come back much more with Cory as we get ready for the Twins and the Royals. A couple other topics we're going to get to around baseball as well. His appearance is brought to us by Welton's Tire Service out of Lisbon. Back, wrap up hour one right after this. All right, wrapping up our first hour back with Cory Provus. His appearance is brought to us by Welton's Tire Service. Twins and Royals coming up 7 o'clock tonight, then 2 day games before the Twins hit 3-city road trip. Starts in Tampa Bay. Got an email in from a diehard Brewer fan who happens to also be my executive producer. It says, Dom, I think I could speak for all Brewer fans when I say this, but the tribute that Cory did for Bob Uecker was amazing and well done. Thank you, Cory. We mentioned that we're talking off air. It was fantastic. It went viral. I know that's not what you did it for, but you did it. It was awesome, bud. It was really, really well done.
Thanks. It was, I wrote it. I had the words in my mind for a while, but then I actually wrote it on the plane from Baltimore to Milwaukee last week. And then I was in collaboration with our entire production team, too, about, how we wanted to shape this. And we were able to kind of, get it linked up and hooked up with some great pictures and videos. And so I'm glad the response, I was not expecting the response, overwhelmed. But I think what it did was reminded people of how much he is missed and how important he is to the game's history, how important he is to me personally, to the city of Milwaukee, to the state of Wisconsin. He's a gem, and guys like that, there'll never be another one of Bob Uecker. So thank you. It came out better than I hoped, and I'm glad that it had the impact that it did.
A couple other things I want to hit you around baseball. The Rockies lost again. That's not breaking news, but now they're off to the worst 50-game start since 1895. We thought the White Sox were bad. The Rockies decided to one-up it in 2025.
And yet they're still drawing.
Yeah.
I mean, look at their weekend attendance. They still do really well because it's still a place to go. It's still a place to hang. It's still a place to go. It's a beautiful. I love going there. And the Twins are there. I think we talked about this before. They're their first series out of the break. It's great in July. It's awesome. But I don't know. And their schedule now is brutal. I mean, have you seen who they play the next 3 weeks? They play juggernaut after juggernaut, NL West top teams. They play the Yankees and the Phillies. They're playing great teams. So trying to find a soft spot in their schedule, it's not happening anytime soon.
Matt Walter, you mentioned in our first segment, hit 2 home runs last night in St. Paul. So it is only it seemed like a matter of when, not if, he's back with the big club.
Yeah, I don't think it happens this weekend. I think it happens next week. I think if I had to guess, I think there's a great chance that Matt's on the plane down to Tampa on Sunday. They're off Monday. Is there a scenario where he misses, the Rays series? Sure. And then could he meet the team in Seattle? That's also possible. But I think that's kind of how it looks. And what my understanding is, the ball is jumping. They're going to want all the power that they can have. And so getting Matt Wallner back would be great. And certainly a good sign to see Matt back in game action, hitting 2 bombs. I saw him in the clubhouse on Monday, and I said, "How you doing?" He said, "I'm bored." He said, "All I'm doing is watching you guys. It's fine, but I'm bored. I want to play." And so he finally was cleared to start playing in games and had a great night last night.
I know you're not going to Tampa. For fans that are going to watch, can you give us the lowdown, what the Rays situation is? Because obviously Tropicana Field is not going to be available. Where Tampa's playing their games, because not only are you playing in Tampa, you're also going to go to Sacramento. The Twins are going to play 2 of their next 3 series in minor league ballparks.
Yeah, so Tampa Bay, sadly, hurricane damage just destroyed Tropicana Field, so that it made it unplayable here this season. Just millions and millions of dollars in loss to that stadium. So with that, MLB and the Rays scrambling a little bit, and so what they came up with was that Tampa Bay is playing at the Yankees spring training ballpark. They're playing at George Steinbrenner Field. And the Rays, they have to pay the Yankees, by the way. For
Wow,
that.
I didn't know that.
Paying or MLB is paying, so they're getting money for this to host these games that the Rays are playing. So they're playing these, 81 games at home, and they're getting to the point now too. This time of year, you get in Florida, it rains every day. So I hope that the Twins are able to get these games in. That humidity builds, storms arrive, batting practice probably when I was doing games with the Cubs, that's when the Marlins were still playing at RFK Stadium, and they never had visiting team never had batting practice, ever, because it was raining at 5 o'clock. It rained from 5 to 6:30 every game. And so I wonder if that's what the Twins are going to encounter a little bit. Hopefully they're still on the earlier side of that. It's going to be hot. Yeah, so they'll play those 3 games at the Yankees spring training ballpark, and then go to Seattle, and then go to Sacramento and take on the A's for 4. And the A's are playing where the Sacramento AAA team plays. And that stadium is hosting more than 150 games, I think, this year between AAA and the big leagues. Some colleagues have been there to broadcast. They say it's okay. The lighting isn't great. The accommodations for the players isn't what they're used to, but for the Twins, it's what you have to deal with. Yeah. It's one time there. It's 4 games, and hopefully they can. The A's right now are struggling a little bit. That they can take advantage. But their first 3-city road trip is coming up next week.
Now, and I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, they actually traded with the Rays because Minnesota was supposed to go there in July, right? And they actually moved it?
Yeah, July 4th. Yeah. We switched with July 4th. The Twins, Miami, and Tampa. And then they flipped with the Rays to have the Rays come to Target Field in July, and instead the Twins are going to the Rays for this series. And I think a lot of that was because of weather. I think if you're playing out of your division, it's going to be hard to make up those games. It's a long flight to go back down there. So I think, they agreed, and the Twins had it, okay, we'll do that, but now we've got this long flight from Tampa to Seattle, but there is an off day in between, so they'll have time to adjust.
Great to see you, bud. Have a great call this weekend, and we'll talk next week, okay?
Thanks, Dom. Be good, buddy.
There he goes. Cory Provus. His appearances each and every Friday brought to you by Welton's Tire Service. Twins and the Royals coming up tonight at 7 o'clock, then day games tomorrow and Sunday before they are off to Tampa, and that will be interesting to show the highlights of those games when they play the Rays starting early next week. We'll break. We come back. We'll start hour 2 on a busy Friday. One of the best athletes in North Dakota had a crazy day yesterday. Trey Husar will join us on his wild day from baseball to the track. That's coming up when Hot Mike returns after this.
This is Hot Mike.
Hot Mike.
On the networks of WDAY.
WDAY.
Here's Dom Izzo.
Welcome back, everybody. Friday morning show rolls on. Final half hour of the week. Getting set for a great sports weekend. Obviously, the state track meet is starting to fill up out there. Field events are going on. We'll have live television coverage beginning at 1 o'clock right here on Extra. And then tomorrow our coverage begins at 11 a.m. I heard this story late yesterday. I'm like, wow, if this is actually factual, we got to make sure we feature it on the show. Yesterday, the Region 1 baseball tournament wrapped up in Castleton. Of course, Northern Cass and Central Cass faced each other there. And the state track meet was going on in Bismarck. Several members of the Northern Cass baseball team actually finished up, won the Region 1 title, then got on an airplane and were flown to Bismarck to compete because they had a team representing in the 4x2 relay late yesterday afternoon. One of those players is one of the best athletes we've got in the state of North Dakota. I've been aching to get him on the show, and this seems like a great opportunity. Trey Husar joins us here on this Friday morning from Bismarck, getting ready for day 2 out at State Track. Okay, give us... I tried to recap as best I could yesterday. You lived it, so tell us what in the world happened yesterday.
Well,
So the 8 a.m. game went into extra innings, obviously. So that pushed back our timing a little bit more. Then we proceeded to lose the first championship game, which pushed us back even further. We luckily pulled it out in the second one, won 5-2. Left the field at about 2:58 or so, just around 3 o'clock. Drove to the airstrip in Castleton, just south of Castleton. Plane was waiting on the runway, and we took off. And then we landed in Bismarck. Mr. Kin, or Coach Kin, was there to pick us up from the airport. Drove to the track, had like 10 minutes to warm up, and ran our 4x2.
Which you guys won your heat, correct?
Yep.
Oh, my gosh. All right, so let's back up. So, obviously, the weather played havoc with the schedule because this was supposed to be done when? Monday? Baseball?
Yep. Supposed to be played on Monday at Northern Cats.
Okay, so obviously all that gets messed up. So when did you guys get aware that there was a plane? Whose plane was it that got you to Bismarck?
I'm not really allowed to say whose plane it was, but there was rumblings that it probably could happen around Tuesday.
Okay.
That if stuff just kept getting pushed back, it was a possibility that out of nowhere it could happen.
All right, so I know and you're a tremendous baseball player, but I'm sure you wanted to do both. So when you lost the first game, are you worried, like, hey, we're not going to be able to get there? Like, was that going through your mind and your teammates' minds?
I mean, right away, but we knew we kind of had to focus and win the second game because there would have been no point if we lost the second game and didn't make the relay. Luckily, both worked out, so it all worked out in the end.
We're watching the relay from yesterday. So you get on the plane. Are you changing as you're getting on the airplane? Because it's not a long flight.
No, we waited till we were at cruising altitude, and we all hustled back there and changed quick.
Oh, man. So you change. You get to Bismarck. Was Coach driving like 90 miles an hour to get you to the track, to the bowl?
No. We were driving legally, but we ended up getting there with about 15, 20 minutes in hand. So it ended up working out better than I think any of us expected.
So yourself, Matthew Hopp, Matthew Metzger, and Sam Clemens are the
Parker Anderson.
And Parker Anderson as well.
Fifth.
Okay,
Yep.
So you guys are all on the baseball team and get to are you shaking your head? Like, are you looking once you got there and you're warming up? Like, we made this work?
Oh, it really didn't realize until we were flying down the runway, and we all just kind of looked at each other and started laughing because it just felt so surreal.
That's amazing. So how did you feel like you guys ran yesterday?
We ran pretty well. We intentionally ran safe because we kind of figured we were the favorite to win our heat.
To advance.
So we played it a little safer just to get the baton around, especially because we hadn't really had a warm-up or we hadn't practiced handoffs before the day. So our focus was just to get the baton around, and then tomorrow we'll really look to push it.
I'm going to tell you right now, you guys are going to get harassed about this forever, how big time you are, that you played baseball, flew in, and then ran track, man. That is an all-time story.
For sure. It'll be one to tell our kids for
Oh,
sure.
I've got to tell you, you got a story for all time that it actually, and the most important thing as well, how much you love baseball. You guys won, and especially against Castleton, at Castleton, to go to state yesterday.
Yeah, we've played probably 3 region championships there in the past 4 years, and we were on the losing side of every single one of them until this year. So especially for the 8 seniors, it felt really good to pull it out on their own turf.
How big a deal is it to be coming here next week to play at Newman Outdoor Field for the Class B tournament?
I mean, it's something we've all dreamed of since we were freshmen. We've always wanted to make it to this stage, and now we're looking to prove a point.
For people that don't know, you're going to go play baseball at South Dakota State. Tell me, and for the viewers out there, when did Division I baseball become a reality? That hey, there's somebody thinks I can play at the next level.
Probably about freshman and sophomore year. I was always trying to get recruited. I kind of went to camps, went to the PBR stuff, like all what everyone else kind of does. And then as soon as it turned about my junior years, when things started getting real, I went to a prospect camp in January talked to the coaches, left a good enough impression to get me looked at, and ultimately it worked out in the end.
So you're basically going out there selling yourself. How difficult is that?
I mean, a lot of pressure for sure, but you gotta realize that the other 50 people that are there also trying to do the same thing. So it kind of takes the pressure off when you look at it from that point.
So when do the Jackrabbits get into the mix?
Probably that January. I mean, I had been going to their prospect camp since I was a freshman. Knew it was always kind of a place I wanted to be. Obviously, growing up in Fargo, got kind of a weird look when I said I'm going to go play at SDSU in the fall. But I don't know. It was the right fit.
They've been on the rise. They've had a really good last couple years. What stood out to you? Obviously, they've redone their whole baseball complex as well. Was there anything you needed to see when you went to say, this is where I want to go?
What stood out the most probably is the culture. Everybody that graduates from SDSU or attends SDSU is really passionate that they attended and graduated from SDSU, which is kind of nice to see. It's similar to Northern Cass, is like everybody roots for each other. So having that makes it feel kind of at home.
What's the strikeout pitch? What's the one pitch you love to throw? Like I can get a guy out with this.
Honestly, whatever Carter calls, he's done a great job all year, kind of controlling the game for me. But oftentimes it is a slider in the dirt or a high fastball or something like that, just to get change the elevation for the hitters.
So the fact now that it's real, I mean, you've got 3 games left of high school, and then it's off to Brookings. When I say that, what goes through your mind?
I mean, it hits hard. Past 4 or 5 years have gone by really fast, but I'm looking forward to the next chapter. Still playing this summer for West Fargo, so I'm looking forward to that too.
What has that been like to be able to do Legion ball in West Fargo?
It's been lots of fun, and it's been really good for my development. Kind of playing against higher competition, playing against other guys who will also play in college. It's kind of formed me to become the player who I kind of am today.
So you're playing with a bunch of guys from West Fargo. So you mentioned it earlier when you told them that South Dakota State. What was that reaction?
I mean, they were all super supportive. A lot of them are super talented too, and honestly might join me down there in the next fall. I'm kind of following Caleb Deere,
yep.
And hopefully someone will follow me, start a pipeline. Who knows?
So today, what do you have on the dot? So baseball's done at least till next Thursday, when I mentioned here in Fargo. So what do you got for the next couple days in Bismarck?
So triple jumps today at 2, and then we run our 4x1 prelims at 4:15, and then tomorrow will be our finals for our 4x1 and 4x2.
Well, that should be easy considering, you had no prep for yesterday, right?
I mean, hopefully it's as easy as it sounds.
You in the triple jump, by the way, is no laughing matter. You set the school record in that last month. What that seems to me Trey, is the most awkward event. How do you become good at that event, at the triple jump?
Honestly, it's a lot of work and a lot of strength training and training of controlling your body and knowing how your body moves, which I benefit a lot to baseball, and it's helped me a lot in baseball too. Knowing how your body moves, how to kind of control yourself in the air is the hardest part. So when you figure that out, it makes it a lot easier.
So you mentioned the 2 events. What else? Do you have anything else lined up for state, or is that it?
No. Well, I long jumped last night, took 3rd. But yeah, just the rest of the relays and then the triple jump.
What you did yesterday is enough for anybody's career, man. What you did that in a 12-hour span.
Yeah, it was pretty nuts.
So after the day's done last night, did you guys just pass out? What was the night like?
Yeah, pretty much. We had Olive Garden brought into our hotel, which was nice.
There you go.
A little carbo load to recover, and then me and Matthew are rooming together, so we both crashed pretty hard.
Just for people that haven't gone to Bismarck, or they're gonna maybe watch it on TV, can you describe what that environment is like and what it's like to compete out there?
It's probably the coolest sporting event in North Dakota. You got 500 athletes. I don't even know how many competing for everything. There's always something going on at any given point. You think you're at a lull, you look about 20 degrees to your left, and another event's just flying by. It's all super fun to watch.
Last thing before I let you go, and you can't say Northern Cass, favorite diamond to play on in North Dakota is where?
Enderlin, probably.
Ooh, okay.
Just because it's a fun little ballpark to play on, little town ball park.
With the train,
we played there a lot.
Yeah, with the train in the outfield, man, that's fantastic.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a good one. I forgot Enderlin. I haven't been down there in a bit. That's fantastic. This was awesome, bud. I really appreciate the time. Congratulations on going to state and baseball, and good luck the rest of the weekend, all right? I hope you get a break soon.
Yes, thank you.
There he goes, Trey Husar from Northern Cass, standout 3-4 sport athlete with a remarkable story yesterday. I caught wind of this late yesterday, and I'm like, wow, boy, if we can do this, we got to get him on the show. Again, the timeline that the first region championship game, I think they started at 8 a.m. yesterday out in Castleton, and Central Cass won that game. So then they have to play the winner-take-all game, like we're talking about the Bison in the Summit League tournament. They play that, and we hear Trey said it got done about 2:30, 2:45, and then I don't even know where the airfield is in Castleton. I've been out there. I've trying to put two and two together. Anyway, they get to the airstrip, up and gone. This is like how Bunnell flies, private all the time, and then land in Bismarck just before their event. Because I'm looking at the schedule yesterday. The 4x2 relay was scheduled to begin at 4:30, and they got there 4:15 before everything got going. Remarkable. That's one of the cooler stories I've heard in a long time. And then they go and win their heat, as you saw. So good stuff there. And, belying the point that he is a great, great pitcher. South Dakota State, Rob Bishop's been on for a bit, head coach down there. And the Jackrabbits got him. And he mentioned Caleb Deere from West Fargo Cheyenne is just wrapped up his freshman year with the Jacks. Now they got another. That's intriguing to watch. We hammer football and basketball all the time, but keep an eye on that. Baseball's had some great success of finding guys in the Fargo, West Fargo area and extended out that have gone down to Brookings and had some pretty good success. So appreciate Trey joining us this morning, and good luck to him and the rest of the Jags the rest of the weekend. We're overdue for a break. We'll get caught up. Got a few emails coming in, and apparently ESPN is on the FCS train. We'll tell you all about that as you look out at Bismarck. Prelims going on. We're back after this. Welcome back, everybody. Live lookout in Bismarck. Day 2 of the state meet. Beautiful weather conditions out. There's our guy. There's Sam. We don't know who's shooting that. He was just standing around doing nothing. He's talking. That was good stuff. So as we speak here, the 300-meter hurdle's going on. The 100-meter dash comes up at 11 a.m. If you want to watch that, I won't take too much offense to it, but you can stream everything on WDAY Plus all day long, and we've got a site picked out. You go on it, and literally you have every different event on the site that you're able to watch there. If you're looking for it on television, we'll start coverage at 1 o'clock today. Our first event is the Class B, the 1,600 meters to start things at 1 o'clock today. So if that's what you're looking for, you can find everything right there. And it's pretty darn cool for our first time doing it. We got an army of people out there bringing it home to you, and going to be good stuff. Email comes in. Don, that was a great interview with Trey. Fun to hear. I love it when you bring high school athletes on. Also, South Dakota State has been up to Fargo 3 times this high school season watching West Fargo Cheyenne's pitcher Hudson Dinger. So they're definitely trying to build that West Fargo pipeline. Know that deal. So with a personal connection to this show, certainly know that. Appreciate the email there coming in. All right, a couple other things I want to get to. Yesterday, as we started the 100-day countdown to the start of the college football season, there's a bunch of different lists out, quarterbacks to watch, coaches on the hot seat, games of the year to keep your eye on. Bill Connolly from ESPN ranked the top 10 games of the 2025 college football season. And in said ranking, which has, the typical list of teams you'd expect of, SEC games, Big Ten games, whatever, you're typical of what you're expecting to see. He also slid in there 2 games that have our attention, which I thought was pretty darn cool because normally they don't get any sort of national attention, but maybe they're starting to be a little bit more. Number 8 on his list, September the 27th, Fargo, North Dakota. South Dakota at North Dakota State. Yes, that's South Dakota, not South Dakota State. With NDSU losing its head coach and quite a few transfers to Washington State, and with NDSU itself rebuilding a solid amount, South Dakota might never have a better chance to make a big splash. Can new head coach Travis Johansson and star running back Charles Pierre Jr. make an early splash in the Fargo Dome? Well, first off, USD has an opportunity to do something that nobody has done in the Division I era. And I mean nobody has done. Now, check that. Northern Iowa was the only one to do it. 2008 to 2010. That's beat the Bison 3 times in a row in the regular season. Jacks did it. The third time was a postseason game. But USD's got a chance to add itself to the list because the Coyotes obviously beat the Bison up here in 2023. And then the unbelievable game to end last season. Now they come up here. That's the conference opener to start 2025. Also on the list was the Brawl the Wild game. That was right there as well. Montana and Montana State, which comes up at the end of the season. Conley writes, it's hard to beat Brawl the Wild under any circumstances, but after dropping 3 of its past 5 games and watching rival Montana State storm to the national title game, Montana went big in the portal, adding 4 FBS Power Conference transfers. This one could determine a top playoff seed. It's always fantastic, that game. It goes without saying. I want to go back to the USD-NDSU game for a minute because if ESPN's pointing this out, and we're going to know next week the games that the worldwide leader will take for the Missouri Valley Football Conference, that puts it square in the crosshairs for me that game, which is homecoming weekend, could be moved to a night kickoff. I had 2 sources tell me that ESPN has already reached out to NDSU, and ESPN asked them if they would have any issue about moving home game times. And NDSU said they would not. So have that spidey sense is going off there. If you're a Bison football fan, you should be aware of that. That I know they always play homecoming 1 o'clock. It may not be this year because that could very well be moved to a night kickoff. And we'll get into this more next week of the games that are happening. And we may have already done it. Some shows sometimes blend together. But that could very well be moved to a primetime kickoff. I've always thought the Dakota Marker game would be a prime selection as well, so which stinks on our end because we love to do those games, but may not have the opportunity to do so. Earlier in the week, and we got bombarded with stuff, a couple other game times came out. We already know the Illinois State game in Normal is going to be a night kickoff on October the 4th. The game in Grand Forks has been announced as well. That is a 1 o'clock kick at the Alaris Center coming up on November the 8th. So as we sit here today on Friday the 23rd, there's only 2 game times we don't know for Bison football. That's October the 25th at South Dakota State, and the week prior, October the 18th at Indiana State. Know full well that the Missouri Valley Football Conference still has its game of the week where they take a game from each opponent and put it as the ESPN Plus exclusive game. I would, without any confidence, or any knowledge, I say I've got some confidence that the Bison-Indiana State game would likely be the Missouri Valley game of the week. And it would not surprise me if ESPN goes and says, we want South Dakota and we want South Dakota State. I don't think the UND game, and they can take as many as they want. That's the part of the contract. But we'll know next week. By this time next week, we'll be diving into it fully because next Thursday is when the first 3 weeks of the college football TV schedule come out, and the special select games. So like the Big Sky games, we'll know if they got picked up. We won't know the channel. We may not even know the time, but we'll know that the ESPN picked those games. We will know that. I'm working on it. Maybe we'll know it before next Thursday. But that's the latest on that. But thought it was interesting that ESPN picked up on that game as the South Dakota NDSU. And granted, that game would be even a bigger deal had USD not lost what they lost. I'm not sure how much Bill follows FCS football, but USD, we know they got ravaged, man. No other way to say it. Not to say they're going to fall off the earth, but they definitely not as loaded as they could have been heading into 2025. Speaking of the new football season, we come back, get you ready for the Bison opener. We're 99 days out from Charleston, South Carolina. You'll meet Citadel head football coach Maurice Drayton. That's coming up on our final half hour of the show here on a Friday morning edition of Hot Mic. We're back after this. Welcome back, everybody. Live look out at Bismarck. Prelims continue. Live coverage coming up here on Extra at 1 o'clock, about 2.5 hours from now. You can watch everything right here on WDAY Extra. So yesterday, we introduced you to the Citadel Athletic Director, Art Chase, was able to join us to give us a little bit of the synopsis of the school and what is on tap for Bison fans if they decide to go to Charleston for the season opener. 99 days from today, the Bison football team back on the field to open up 2025 in a state they'd never been in before, South Carolina, to play the Citadel out of the Southern Conference. Yesterday, late yesterday afternoon, I had a chance to visit with their head football coach, Maurice Drayton, former Green Bay Packer coach as well. That is in his third year. He played at the Citadel. He coached previously at the Citadel and then was hired a couple years ago to take over. And you'll hear in his own words, he says it, that they were the worst FCS team in the country when he took the job. And they didn't win a game in 2023. Last year they won 5 games, and now they get the defending national champs to come to their building. My conversation with the Citadel head coach, Maurice Drayton.
Boots on the ground. We wanted the opportunity to, I'm a big Ric Flair guy. And Ric Flair says in order to be the best, you have to beat the best. Now, I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is this is an opportunity for our organization, not just the football program, our school, our community, to see how a top-ranked perennial power in all of football, I'm not going to say FCS, in all of football, how they do it, how they travel, how they eat, how they take the field in warm-ups, how admissions lets people in, how the professors understand the student-athlete experience. It's our opportunity to do that. So as soon as we got you on the schedule, people started doing research. And then when they get to see it up close and personal, they're like, oh, my goodness, this is what it's supposed to look like. This is who we want to be like.
When telling the team that, especially during spring ball, I mean, how much have you got into it yet? I know you're worried about your own team, but have you talked to the guys like, okay, it's coming here for game one right out of the chute. This is what we got.
Well, we're in the social media age. So as soon as that schedule was released, the guys knew the challenge at hand. We believe in focusing on ourselves, just trying to get a little bit better each day. Where I inherited the program in my third stint here, people don't like when I tell the truth, but I tell the truth. We were the worst program in all of FCS. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Now, that's not an indictment on anyone previous to us, but that's just where we were. So we're focusing on ourselves. As long as we do that, continue to get a little bit better each day, I'm not worried about the end results of wins and losses right now. Yes, coaches are judged off of that, But for me, where I am in my life, I'm secure. It's more about teaching this great game of football, molding men for tomorrow, and giving them a student athlete experience while teaching. That's what we're about.
I know it's not about wins, but to go from 0 to 5, were you even ahead of schedule last year for what you want to do now in 2025?
Oh, it's so funny that you asked that question. Going into the season, second season, everybody wanted me to put a win, total on it. And somebody's going to ask me that this year. You're asking me that this year, right? So here's the deal. I never give a win-loss ratio or my prediction, but every year I've ever coached, I have always had a number in my head. And I'll just be honest with you, we fell short of the number I wanted for year 2.
We saw East Tennessee State last year. You guys scared the heck out of them a couple weeks later. For fans now, they're getting, especially up here, I think they know the SoCon, Coach, but what do we not know about it on a week-to-week basis that you experience, Ed?
Yeah, so here's the deal with the SoCon. I played in the SoCon. I was part of the SoCon from 94 to 98. I played defensive back. A couple receivers we guarded in the SoCon to give you the history of the SoCon. Terrell Owens, gold jacket. Randy Moss, gold jacket. The SoCon used to be what your conference is today. Yeah. We used to call ourselves the SEC of 1AA. And it has since changed. Right now, it's the Midwest, where you guys are. North Dakota State, South Dakota State. All those teams, you guys are who we want to be, or at least who I'm trying to tell our administrators, hey, let's find their blueprint and let's wash and repeat it. So having said that, the SoCon is finally trying to get back to what I remember it being. There's a lot of the playing field is actually level. Everybody's raising their game. We have really, really good coaches in this conference. We're attracting some really good players right now with the state of college athletics. Being in the Southeast, it's attractive from a weather standpoint. I spent many years in the Midwest. I was born in Ohio, right? I'm from South Carolina, but I was born in Ohio. I coached with the Colts. I coached with the Packers. The Midwest athlete, the Midwest demeanor, the Midwest that growl, that toughness, that is what we're trying to bring right now, because that in all of FCS football at this moment.
How tough is it as a SoCon guy that Georgia Southern and App State aren't there anymore?
Well, so I was part of and during my second stint, I was part of that transition when they were exiting. Yeah. And truth of the matter is, that's when the Citadel won back-to-back Southern Conference titles. So, we getting arguments all the time. Which Southern Conference team was better? We've only won 4 now. 4 conference championships in the whole history of us playing football. 61, 92, and then we won in when I was back my second stint, and I always mess up the years because it's just football to me. 15 and 16, or either 16 and no, it was 16 and 17. So the point I'm trying to make is this: Georgia Southern left, Appalachian State left, ETSU at the time did away with football, and they were just coming back. VMI was in the Big South. So my 15 and 16 guys, 16, 17 guys, it's no knock on them, but the conference wasn't the same. Mm-hmm. And now that Georgia Southern and Appalachian State have left, we're just now getting back to we're resettling with our new teams. Mercer is a bear.
Yeah, we saw them last year up here. They're really good.
Yeah, their facilities are unbelievable. Where they're seated, an hour outside of Atlanta is really good. So they're in the league now. When you look at UT Chattanooga, they do a good job. ETSU's doing a good job. Western Carolina, they will score 77 points on you in a heartbeat. He does a great job. VMI is on the rise. I love Coach Rock. In the league, and it's no disrespect to them, but our league is finally getting better. So week in, week out, we're facing opponents that makes you feel good about going on the road for a round 1 playoff game, because the way the playoffs is structured now, it's almost what you do the year prior projects you and places you in the next year, whether you get a home game or whether you have to go on the road and things of that nature. So, our goal is to make the playoffs, and I'm fully prepared. Every day we think about it, we talk about it. We're going on the road, and that's part of it.
The kind of football player you can get into the Citadel, what challenge does that present recruiting wise? Because it's obviously there's different eligibility requirements to get into the school. Can you explain that a little bit for people that just don't know how difficult it might be to get a guy to come to school there?
Yeah. So first of all, Citadel, man or woman, is a different human being, right? Because we live a military lifestyle. 17 to 23-year-olds, they don't want anything to do with getting up at 5 a.m. and doing PT. They don't want anything to do with shining shoes, shining brass, keeping a grooming standard about themselves, not having electrical appliances in your room, right? There's no fridge in your room, right? There's no microwave in your room. Like we're military. Now, 30% of our graduates actually go in the military. The other 70%, these are different human beings who say, I want to live a military lifestyle. I want to go to a place where we develop principal leaders and we put them into society. That's who we are. A lot of people don't want that right now. So it presents challenges. So when you look at the overarching recruiting pitch, we pitch, hey guys, we want you to trade 4 for 40. Give me these 4 years of your life right now, and I'm going to set you up for the next 40 years of your life. And the Citadel bond, the Citadel ring, and the things that we present, Citadel men and women look out for each other. It doesn't mean we're going to give you a job because you still have to, earn it. But that resume is going straight to the top of the pile.
What have you heard around town about excitement level for this game? Is there a palpable excitement knowing who's coming on Labor Day weekend?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yes, absolutely. Because one of the things we're doing, when 3 years ago, when we signed on for this, and, in my speeches, in my talks, I talk about what we want to be like, who we want to be like. And we use the Bisons as the barometer. That is the barometer. That is the litmus test. So, the excitement is very high. So high, and this is a personal pitch, right? I'm just throwing this out there. I don't know who's listening. For my first 2 home games at the Citadel, I was able to get a tailgate spot where my hometown of Moncks Corner, South Carolina, was able to have a tailgate. Well, I can't get it right now because you guys have already reserved all the spots. So the head coach of the Citadel can't get a tailgate spot for his hometown people. So if that doesn't tell you how big this is with you guys coming to town, I don't know how else I could tell you. Now, what I'm hoping is you come to town early, you go to our beaches, you hang out, you experience downtown Charleston. You don't even think about a football game. Just experience Charleston.
Yeah. Just that area, I think for a lot of fans, Coach, they're going to come and make maybe a week of it because NDSU's playing at Tennessee State and Nashville the next week. So they're trying to maybe double up and do both cities. Just how big a deal could this be for you going forward? I think you touched on it off the top of this, of what this can do for your program, win or lose, to get you where you want to go come November and beyond.
Yeah, absolutely. Win or lose. And I hit on it a little bit. I'll start with my players. My players will see what a perennial power looks like, what a perennial power feels like, what a perennial power smells like, up close and personal. I can talk about it till I'm blue in the face. I've played my last snap. I'm not in the NFL anymore. I can't lean back on that. We are in the age now where these young men and women, we have to show them. All right. So this experience will show them. It also shows our administration. It shows our city. It shows everybody what a perennial power looks like. And, we're thankful for this opportunity. I'm glad we don't have to visit you guys for 2 seasons. I think we repay the visit in 27, unless we make the playoffs and we have to come out there sooner. And that's fine too. I welcome that. but this game is huge for Citadel football. This game could be the turning point in the direction of where we go as a athletic organization.
I thought that was pretty good. And I can't wait. He was fantastic. I told him afterwards, like, that was great. Hopefully we can do that again when we get closer to the start of the season, because he really laid it out exactly where they were at, where he's trying to get him to go. He said it to me, because I thought his previous athletic director scheduled the game. He said, no, I got the game. I wanted to play this game because we want to get better. So that's fantastic. And look forward to getting him back on the show. We get closer to the kickoff of the start of the season. We'll take our final break. We come back. If you thought Trey Husar's day was pretty good yesterday, there was one other thing that happened that we got to show you. We'll do that before we wrap up our week on Hot Mic. Back after this. All right, wrapping things up here. Final few minutes. Ready for the holiday weekend. We'll be back on Monday. Sam will be filling in for me on Monday. I'll see everybody on Tuesday, anticipation of a crazy week. We got all hands on deck to get ready for 6 state tournaments that start on Thursday. All of our crew that's out at track will be back and spread out all over. We're going to be in Grand Forks. We'll be in Fargo, West Fargo. It's going to be a busy few days, and looking forward to that coming up next week. As Cory Provus hinted at, it is now official. The Twins just released this, that Carlos Correa has been reinstated from the injured list, and he will be back in the lineup tonight. You can see they're going to wear those horrendous City Connect uniforms tonight. It's Friday. But he'll be back after missing the last week after dealing with the concussion symptoms that he had after the collision with Byron Buxton. Real quick before we go, I already got like 3 emails off our interview with Trey Husar, which was awesome. This email came in. I got to read this quick. Dom, Trey also had a barehanded catch out in center field against Central Cass in the first championship game. There was a fly ball hit to left center. Trey stumbled a bit when he took off and ended up stepping on his glove, pulling it off from his hand. He ran over and caught the fly ball for an out like it was a cricket match or baseball in the late 1800s with no glove. Incredible story on what the Northern Cass boys did yesterday. Thanks for interviewing Trey. He's a great person. NDSU really missed out by not recruiting him. Okay, watch this again. He doesn't have a glove on, folks. And he made the catch. Look at his left fielder. The left fielder's reaction is awesome. Like, what? What just happened? Eric, play it again, man, and it's going to loop again. The left fielder's reaction is my favorite. Watch again. So apparently we don't see him stumble. The glove is back there, and he made the catch. That is phenomenal. The left fielder, that could be a meme. Oh, that's fantastic. That's our best play of the week, and it's not even close. Look at this. That is awesome. That adds to the legend of what happened yesterday for him. Everything else is secondary. That happened. He rode in a private plane to get to Bismarck and then ran to the state track meet. That's it. It's going to be hard-pressed to beat any day like that. I'm 46 years old. Outside of the birth of my son and getting married, that's the top. That is right up there if that happened. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. All right, let's do some What to Watch before we get out of here. That's fantastic. Oh, man. What to Watch brought to you by Northwestern Mutual. Okay, here we go. State track. It's going on now. You can live stream everything on WDAY+. Our TV coverage begins at 1 o'clock today, and then tomorrow we hit the air at 11 a.m. for coverage on WDAY Extra. Royals and the Twins, 7 o'clock tonight on Twins.tv as they start a new series with Kansas City. See if they can get off on the winning note there. Game 2, Pacers and the Knicks, 7 o'clock on TNT. Boy, Knicks need this one, knowing they're going on the road for the next 2. And the softball Super Regionals continue. Game 1, Alabama and Oklahoma. If you missed our interview with Abby Ducher yesterday, it was awesome. 4 o'clock on ESPN2. It's just so good. Our thanks to Logan Knight, to Cory Provus, Trey Husar, and Maurice Drayton. If you missed the show, you can podcast it later today at Inforum.com. Have a great holiday weekend, everybody. Enjoy the track. We'll see you back here next week on Hot Mic.